Kattia, and I'm so glad to have you guys here today. We have something new to talk about today, but before we get started, we should do the good morning song. Let's get Gloria. Let's see. Good morning, how are you? How are you? Very well, thank you, very well, thank you. What about you? What about you? I hope you guys are doing well this morning. Today what we're going to talk about is called the water cycle. A cycle is something that happens over and over again in repetition. Did you guys know that the water that we have today, we've had for as long as Earth has been here? Water is recycled over and over again, like I said, in this never-ending cycle, the water cycle. The water cycle starts whenever the sun, high up in the sky, sends down waves of heat that can hit any surface of water, which can either be as big as the ocean or tiny, 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 like a small puddle in your backyard. Whenever the waves hit the water and make it warm enough, we get the first step of the water cycle. And this step is called evaporation. Can you guys say that? Evaporation. Evaporation is when the water gets hot enough and it becomes something different. It becomes vapor. Vapor then rises up into the sky. You guys can see vapor whenever you see steam coming out of maybe a hot cup of chocolate or a hot bowl of soup, and you can see it coming up from the surface. So vapor comes out of the water surface when it gets hot enough, and it rises up into the sky, evaporation, and when it gets high enough, it actually starts to cool down, and all these little tiny water droplets, they kind of attract together and they form something called a cloud. Have you guys seen clouds before up in the sky? That's actually made out of tiny, tiny, tiny water droplets, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. So that part is called condensation. So we've covered evaporation, which is water getting hot enough so that vapor forms and it rises up from the water, and then condensation, whenever it gets cool enough again and high enough and starts to form clouds. So the clouds up in the sky eventually get very, very, very heavy. When they're heavy enough, we get to the next step of the water cycle, precipitation. Precipitation is a word that we use to talk about water in any form coming down from the sky. It can be rain, it can be snow, which we don't really see a lot of here. It can be sleet or hail or anything else that's coming down from the clouds, right? So again, first part of the water cycle, evaporation, water rising when it gets hot enough. Second part, condensation, the clouds up in the sky forming whenever the water droplets get cool enough. And then the third step, precipitation, whenever the clouds up in the sky, like I said, get heavy enough where they have to let the water back down. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then our fourth step is collection. The collection stage can also be called accumulation, which just means the water that came down from the sky going back into another body of water. Collection is it can be rivers, it can be streams, the ocean, it can be puddles. It's just wherever the water landed when it got back down into the ground. So let's review those 4 stages. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and collection. So friends, I actually have a really quick and simple activity for you guys that you can choose to do at home if you have these 2 ingredients. You will need cornstarch and conditioner, like the one that you use for hair. Any hair conditioner will do. You will need to have a surface that you can clean off easily and with the help of a mom or dad. Okay friends, for this activity you really only need 2 ingredients with an optional third. I have cornstarch and conditioner to start with. You're going to need 1 part conditioner and 2 parts cornstarch. So if you're using cups to measure, it would be 1 cup of conditioner to 2 cups of cornstarch.
For my cloud Play-Doh, I used about a cup of cornstarch and half a cup of conditioner. to get it all mixed up together, it might take a little bit of work, and the cornstarch could get everywhere. So I recommend, if you do this, to use a surface that can be wiped down really easily. When you're done mixing, the Play-Doh might look a little bit like this. If it was too wet, you might have to add more cornstarch. If it was too dry, maybe more conditioner. But like I said, it could get everywhere, so just be careful where you're using this. Once you're done mixing, you can choose to add food coloring. I chose to make my cloud Play-Doh blue and green. To keep it fresh, you're probably going to want to keep it in a Ziploc bag. It's super fun to play with and super soft.
Okay friends, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learning about the water cycle with me. If you choose to do the cloud Play-Doh, make sure that you're using, like I said, a surface that you can clean off right away. And if you're using food coloring, maybe use some gloves. I stained my hands just a little bit. And as always, I hope you guys have a great afternoon. So let's do our goodbye song and then we'll get going. Let's see. Adios, adios, goodbye. Adios, adios, goodbye. Hasta luego. Adios, adios, goodbye. Bye, friends. See you next time.